Hello, pillars of the internet, and welcome to a very jolly automation video where I'll be attempting to build Rudolph a red-nosed car of sorts. I know it's a ridiculous idea, but I just realised there are trees and everything up in this game if you have the latest open beta, so, why not build a car that's Rudolph? I'm thinking this one, maybe, 2008 SUV, as it says. There are a lot of strange ideas I could have, and I think an MPV or a van would be pretty good. With the way I'm hoping this will work, we have various vans, 1945 people mover. I'm not really going to pay much attention to the logic of it. It's going to be a fun, illogical build for once. Just, not bound by the usual limits. You know what? I think we'll have a mini or something of equivalent size. Can we hopefully see size? You definitely used to be able to see size. So we have different types of cars, okay. So I think we should erase anything that's really like a large van or a pickup truck or something, because they're not going to be small. Estates as well, they're longer versions of cars, so they won't be small. Sports cars, yeah, sure. Hatchbacks should be small enough. Saloons, might be a few small ones, but most of them don't seem to be small ones. And where is the mini in all of this? I don't know. It's just, we have various little things. Ooh, you know what, I do want to work with a mini though. Anyway, and what else are we going, what other chance are we going to have unless I actually build a mini competitor? At which point we would be restricted to 1950s technology, so it just seems like a fun idea to me. We could build a pickup truck, but that would probably... it probably wouldn't get along with the other reindeers, let's say. With its violent nature and flat-frontedness. Okay, yeah, we're looking for body here. There we go. It's right there. It slipped right under my nose, and the wheels are being funny. We never did that before this point, but for some reason they are now. Oh dear. Anyway, we can go with, hopefully, aluminium panels. Sounds good for this kind of vehicle. Or do we want it to fly, so we could have carbon fibre, but no, I'm thinking aluminium. I think I want it to still be a quick front-wheel drive thing, but I want it to be in many ways a modern version of the Mini, but not what the new Mini did end up becoming. Because the new Mini ended up becoming a hatchback with kind of a different look to it, whereas I want something completely different. This is AHS Light, whatever that is. I don't know, it's not showing up properly, clearly, but it is some kind of new material, which is interesting. We can go with rear longitudinal, but we don't want a rear engine Mini. The Mini is front engine, front wheel drive. That is what made it so special. I think if we go with a AHS steel under tray, we can have a aluminium chassis. No, aluminium panel material, perhaps. Or maybe we could have glued aluminium. I'm thinking of turning this into quite a high-end exclusive car. Like, there was a Mini that was like that, but it wasn't a newly manufactured Mini, so I'd be interested if they were... It was kind of new, but it was made from used components, if that makes sense. Double wishbone front and rear sounds pretty good with what I'm going for. Front suspension, wow. Like, is this... this is so strange. How... Am I... Help. My mind is just at a loss. How can you have leaf springs on the front of a car like this? I mean, sure, on an off-roader, but on this? Really? Solid axle coil, that won't quite work for me. So double wishbone it is. And we could go with multi-link rear, perhaps, but there's also torsion beam and double wishbone. I don't know, multi-link's supposed to be best for comfort. But I want the sporty feel of double wishbones. Whenever I drive a multi-link car on video games, it always feels too soft, so double wishbone cars, which is generally the old ones, feel better in comparison. Just my analysis, whatever. Front wheels are too narrow. Sure, fair enough. We can't... Oh no, wait. We can make them wider. We can't do the proper wheel arches I think they had on later minis, but you know, it's something. It allows us to work with bigger tyres, at least better than we would otherwise be able to. And it sure is better than the old Gran Turismo games had for tyre width changes. They didn't give you much options there. Yeah. Yes, we're building a Nissan Cube suddenly. Nah, that is like, it's like a Mitsuoka, really. You're gonna do that to it. Whoop. We did make some variants of minis though that were actually like this, like little saloons. I don't think I'll be doing that today, I don't feel like it. We want to bring this forward just a little, but not so much. We can bring the windscreen back, again, just a little, but not so much. Come on, back you go. No, I don't know. That window looks a bit low on the front to me. Maybe it's because it's not actually a mini and I'm expecting it to look exactly like a mini in every way, shape and form. We can maybe bring the front forward. No, I don't really feel like doing that. It'll bring the weight balance forward too. We can go with some different paint. Let's just quickly add one. Why not? New paint, where is it? This one. This is a new paint. Ooh. Kind of British racing green. You know, I think I'll keep that actually. I might paint it brown so it's a bit more reindeer-y coloured a bit later, but also I've just realised something. I'm not really a fan of it. Can I tweak it? Tweak. No, yes, I don't know. I don't want the chassis sticking out, so I'm going to have to do that. There we go. New colour. Yeah, as I say though, I do like this paint. It's definitely not bad. Trim, I think we can go with chrome. Yeah, indeed. I like the chrome trim on here. I think it looks very nice indeed. Pillars. Chrome. Yeah, you can be chrome, like the Wheel Mini actually has in that particular area. We can go with bumpers, they can be chrome. I like chrome, you get it by this point. It's going to be a very chrome reindeer. So, do we have anything else? We have window, no, we have trim and we have window trim. Ah, so oddly there's like trim on the front window, but then the other windows are just under window trim. Very strange indeed. And the chassis is sticking through the front, I think, oh dear. Not much I can do other than just go and drag this forwards until it hides it well enough. There we go. It's not perfect, but it's hidden. I think it looks a bit sportier than the Mini, actually, with that low bonnet. I am hoping to fit a transverse engine in, though, so who knows how it's going to go. Lights, do they work? Ah, no, they're the kind of ones that stick out. Frog eye lights, as I might call them. I think these are different. Let's go with these. They look a bit more modern than the others. And the headlights actually here, they're fitting in a lot easier than I remember. I remember it being very awkward to get headlights into bodies before. Whereas now they're just going in as they should, really. Which is definitely a pleasant change. It struggled a bit there, but still, much better. We can have some indicators then snuggled in somewhere around this area. There we go. Make them a bit smaller and hope really that they kind of work. Not too bad, but I could do better, I think. So, how about these ones? Well, no. Actually, I take it back. I think these are the rear lights of a new Mini. No, they don't work at all, like I thought they would. We can have that. A bit crisper cut than a old Mini would have, but it works. You know, it fits in with the headlights as well, which are also the same. There we go. Now we need a grille of sorts. How will I do this without whipping off a Mini? Maybe I'll put an upside down Mercedes grille on, just because that's what I do. Yeah, classy. The car has style. forged from somewhere in Germany, wherever they designed Mercedes. That it is cutting a hole in the body. I can say I'm not a fan of that. It's just finding grills that I actually like is really the issue. Ooh, this is one from an old Ford, but I feel oddly it could work. Yes, it looks like a very weird conglomerative spin-off, but I think I've got... Oh, yes, I've got an even better idea. The reindeer is going to have a mustache. Indeed it is. And it has to be red-nosed as well. How will I do that? I would say this, but this isn't going to be red on mine, is it? Fuel filler. The fuel filler cap could go there, but I don't think the fuel tank would be in the front anyway, so that would be kind of pointless. Wheels. We're also here. We might as well choose some. I would say those, but I'm not going for a classic car. I'm going for a modern car inspired by the classic, so how about these? I'll see how they look when I make them bigger. I probably still won't like them, but it's worth a try. We need to make this red nose, though, remember? The only way I could think of before recording this was putting a big indicator in the middle. You know, it works well enough as a red nose. It's not ideal, because what are you going to do? Indicate to go forwards, but it's red-nosed. A red-nosed car. And it needs a mustache. I'm not sure I like the front, but you know, it works well enough. It's kind of expressionless. It's like this time of year again. Oh, I'm gonna have to do the present one. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Try this. It's a mod, it even says on it. So we can flip that over there. And then flip it over the other way up, hopefully. Try and shrink that just a little touch. Rotate. Rotate. And there we go. It's got a mustache. I'm not sure I like it now. I don't like that anymore. Not with a mustache. So this... no. What am I doing? It needs a chrome grille. That's it. A Mini has a chrome grille. Ooh. I always come back to this, don't I? That's just not going to work in this case at all. The grille needs to be chrome in some way, shape or form, though. Oh, this should do the trick. Should do the trick, actually. Trouble is, I often find grills at work and they just cut into the bodywork like that. I'm not sure if it's had too much chrome or whatever, but it just doesn't like it. Can I at least find one with a chrome kind of rim to it or something? No, you don't show chrome very easily. Right, this one. There we go. Finally, I've got something with a bit of chrome on. And it's smiling, yes, indeed. And it's not cutting any bodywork. That's just what we need. We can have our mustache, naturally, added to Rudolph the red-nosed car. Rudolph the red-nosed Italian car. Well, stereotypically, I guess, Italians make pizzas and have mustaches. It's probably not true, but you know, this is a stereotype. Let's look at how happy he is. Well, I say he. It's probably a female reindeer. Headlights. We can add some little side lights here. They're like the indicators. They should work reasonably well. Can't think of much better to do with the space, that's for sure. I could put another vent there, but how much cooling is this engine going to need if it's just going to be a standard transverse engine? And now I'm thinking of crazy things to do with it. Oh, yes. Those wheels do not suit it. But maybe in the future. Just maybe. All that chrome. We need some tail lights as well. Tail lights, where are you? There we go. Stick some of the same ones I used on my MG thingy on. They also kind of look like an Alfa Romeo. These look like they would be surprisingly good. I might have been wrong there. Oh dear. That is like horrifying. It's like what you remember your childhood from all the wrong ways, and you get in some car that looks like that from the back because it's owned by a terrifying person that you should never have met. I don't know. They work, kind of. Just look at what have I made this into? Right, my mind is just blank now. I think for the back, I'll have to come back because I have no idea what precisely I'm going to do with it. I've just about worked my brain out on the front. Maybe I should add a hood vent. No, it's not going to need a cooling, so I say. Ooh, interesting. I think these are new. These work quite well with what I'm trying to do. It's a tiny car as well, that's why the handle looks massive, remember. These minis are not big in the slightest. Like, even for the time they were out, they were small, and that's when cars were a lot smaller than they were. So, save this for the time being. I think we want an inline 4. The original Mini had an inline 4, and it doesn't like it. It doesn't like having an inline 4. Fancy that. Can put an inline 3 in. Is it complaining? It doesn't fit, apparently. I don't know what's going on. I've not even finished building the engine yet, and this should fit. I think I've worked out, because this engine's been in automation for a while, I think it's just it doesn't let you put as big an engine as you should be able to in. So it'll have to be a inline 3 or a V6. Not an inline 6. How about a V6? A V6 90 degree would lower the centre of gravity just a touch, I think, compared to the 60, but it's unlikely it'll fit. This engine won't fit width-wise, apparently. Oh, wait, what's it saying? Is it saying inline 3 won't fit width-wise? Very, very odd. It's the actual width of the engine that's the problem, so how big do I have to make this? Oh well, looks like I can have a 1.6 or something. A 1.6 should be achievable on the limits at a 4-cylinder engine. Yeah, I'm trying to put words together, I do apologise. I'm not locked out the garage this time though, that's pleasant. Yeah, there's some, camshafts in a bag. Not bag, in a stocking. Are you hanging up your bag on the wall, kids? Hang up a plastic Morrison's bag and hope you get presents in it. Or whatever other supermarket you may go to. We can go with some forged internals, perhaps. They should do the job. Could go with billet steel on the crank, but it just doesn't seem necessary. I could probably get away with a cast iron crank, to be honest, just to keep prices a bit low. Although, do I want to do that? I would say not, because we use all the parts. I don't know. Just look at that spinning. It looks like cast iron. Maybe because it is visually cast iron. We want valve timing. I can't think, though, without coming back to the fact I want a V6 in this. I know, as stupid as it sounds, it won't realistically fit a V6, but I want a V6. Yes, I fit one in! Now, you might say this won't have very high limits, but I don't think it would be that bad. I mean, sure, it might want to blow up compared to a ultra-high revving engine at ultra-high RPMs, but if we look at this, now, I'm going to do something stupid. Will that fit better? No. But, you know, there's always a chance. Dual overhead cam, I remember oddly being smaller, so I might be able to fit more in there. No, it does not appear to be the case. But it is better for performance. So there is that. Oh dear. I think they fixed it now, so it's not smaller, but I don't know for certain. So keep scaling this up, I think. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. No, you have to be 1.1 litres. So we've got a 1.1 litre V6. I know this is a stupid engine. I could just build a V6, build an inline 4, sorry, and get it over with, but this is what my heart's telling me to do, quite frankly, and since it is a fun vehicle, as opposed to something properly serious, I don't see a reason not to. 5-valve cylinder. No, it doesn't want to fit. Now, 5-valve per cylinder in a tinier engine still could be quicker, but I think I'm going to have to reduce it too much. Like, I've already lost 200 cc's by the time it'll accept it, and in an engine like this, that is actually quite a big proportion of the overall scale of it. So, keep scaling it up. I could lose valves per cylinder, but I don't want to, and I can't really see any justification in doing so. Unless I could go with 3 valve per cylinder, which again would be odd. And no, it doesn't really show any advantages in size compared to the 4 valve per cylinder single overhead cam. This is one of the only times I would say I've seen an advantage in using an overhead cam being this big, just because that engine is going to be crammed in there. Remember how tiny these vehicles actually are. So, yeah, we're going to have a bit of a struggle. I made it all aluminium, actually. Could I use something fancier? I could, but I don't see any point. If we look at the weight, provided we haven't changed this, we have higher material costs, I think. And we have production units that are actually lower for Alsey. Engineering time that's higher, definitely. Wait, that's what I was looking for. It's lighter, but it's by a few kilos. Whereas, I don't know, you could say the same about cast iron, but it's never by the same level of lightitude. This is never going to be a heavy engine, though, at 1.1 litres, so I think we're sorted there. And I think if I just go and double check, ooh, I could make it a little bigger there. 1126, 1124. Nope, it doesn't like being that big. No, you're going down, and then you're going down. 1111. I think I've just ruined the engine, okay. Yeah, it kind of starts pulling the other end up. So, there's only so far you can stretch the values. There's just a big orange blob there because it doesn't want to fit at all. But wait, wheels are narrow. Sure, the front wheels are narrow as well. And that's about it. Do we want a turbo? Will we fit a turbo is probably a better question. And surprisingly enough, we can. Since I'm never going to get much power otherwise, we're going to have a crazy front wheel drive V6 thing with a turbo. Sure, why not? Intercooler set up for stupid amounts of power, though I'll probably bring it down later. And we'll go with direct injection per cylinder with a performance intake and regular fuel to try and keep it road running and everything. Because I know it'll fall into some dodgy antiques dealer's hands or whatever, and then he'll end up thrashing the car, and it'll just die if we don't pay enough attention to the quality of the fuel that it's able to take without suffering too bad. Raise the RPM a little, because it's such a tiny engine, it'll do it even if the stroke is quite high. Dual exhausts, sure, they look huge, but the engine's tiny, which is why we can go with bypass valves, I guess. Go with a The best collider converter available. We'll go with a reverse flow muffler to try and reduce the noise. Maybe change that later. And 116 horsepower really isn't that bad, considering how tiny this engine is. And that I've not done any tuning on it. And that I'm on the complete wrong menu now. We can maybe get it to snap. I don't know. No, it's hitting the red line. That's the problem. Oh, I've got loads of RPM to play with. I've got until 9800 before it goes. That's pretty good. And 113 horsepower is what I'm making now. Just keeping to adjust the compression. This thing is going to make a lot. I think 200 at least, if I don't really care about turbo lag. Because 117 with just compression tuning, that isn't bad at all. Anyway, I can let you hear it now. See how it runs. Okay, so it sounds as absurd as you may expect it to sound. It only weighs 102.8 kilos as well, as with the turbos and everything all. I was going to see it under there. That would have been pretty amusing, though. You have to admit, just seeing that thing kind of packed into the front. Will it fit with all-wheel drive? That's what I wonder. Because, yeah, if it fits with all-wheel drive, that's going to be craziness. As a matter of fact... no. It won't fit with all-wheel drive. It'll only fit with four-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive, which is interesting. So, we can go with front-wheel drive? Wait a minute. It doesn't apparently work with front-wheel drive. That is a shame. But I will still come and put something together by the end of it all. I need to go through these menus though still. Well, I don't have a 7-speed manual. I don't see the reason. It seems a good enough transmission for the purposes we're building it for. We can go with geared limited slip differential, probably the best available. And all the tyre widths. What are we going to do here? I think radial's the more modern one. Cross-ply, it doesn't seem to show much difference. Does it? Yeah, it doesn't really show the difference. Medium, compound, hard, long life, and chunky off-road. We have the text on the tyres in certain cases. We have 125s at the moment, which are not wide at all. Do we want sport tyres? Sure we do. We're going to be putting out monstrous power soon. I can't really do much about these wheels other than blindly hope and increase the wheel arches, because that's all I've got on my sides. Do you see though? 205s and it's already looking like a wild hot rod of a vehicle, because they're all that will fit in. Does it fit 215s? Not really. They technically fit, but the car is not comfortable with them at all. Same with the rear fitting 205s, to be entirely honest. And why do I keep clicking back to this menu? There really is no need to be on that. So, try and expand you outwards. And onto this we can go. There we are. I mean, my Windows was coming up again. This is reasonable enough. 205s are very chunky, actually. How much power, though, we're going to put out, I don't know. Do we want carbon fibre wheels? Sure, why not? Why not have carbon fibre wheels to help us put down the power as much as realistically possible? 12-inch, ooh. See, 13-inch wheels look huge on it, but 12s are probably better looking, actually, if I'm entirely honest. Or are they? No, can't unsee 13s. 13s look white. It looked bad at first, but then when I saw what was smaller, it actually starts looking okay. And we can go with some vented discs on the front of 2 pistons at quite large size, 250mm, as large as they'll go. You know, if this is going to be quick, I'm going to have to really try and get it stopped, because there's not going to be much I can do other than blindly hope and add the best brakes I can. So I think if I go with about 230 on the way, 1 piston brakes, we can probably go with a slight track bias to about 70%. I think we want more bias on the front, do we? 65. I have no idea, though, how this will affect the braking. Does it say on the graphs? I don't know. It's not finished yet, so it doesn't say. We can go with a downforce under tray, sure. 100 cooling flaps. Do we need them? Sure, and an active wing. It's gonna go wrong, but it's gonna go wrong in style. Add a bit of a cooling airflow. We can add seats, not to the back, sadly. +3. Wait, is that a difference whether they have headrests or not? Because that sure looks like it. We could have a 6-seater, yeah. You are not going to have 6 people sitting comfortably in a Mini. Maybe 4 people sitting comfortably, you know, if you put some decent seats in and everything, but 6, that is really stretching the limits of what's possible. So I'm going to have basically a 2 seats, front and rear. And then I'm going to have a sport interior, unless it's ridiculously heavy. Does it say? Weight, 82.44. It's heavy, but it's not that much more than the basic interior model. And I'll go with some basic infotainment, because it is a sports car. You can surely put up with less stuff on the infotainment itself, as long as there is something to keep you entertained. I will adjust the quality as well to make that a little higher, because it is going to be a high-end car, so why not? We'll go with some variable hydraulic power steering. Do we need traction assists? Sure we do. People can't drive these days, so we need all the traction assists in that respect. We have various safety options. I'd say basic 90s, to be honest. It's a mini chassis. It's not known for its safety, so also saves weight, but you know, these cars just were not hugely overdone for safety. Now what other... Oh, my window's popped up again. Like, why is it doing that? I don't know. But we do have our shining red nose, which is more orange, but it's still shining, and some weird tail lights that look into your soul. We have some we'll have some hydro pneumatic suspension. Active sway bars, I don't know. They seem a bit too much race car stuff to be on a road car realistically. And we can go with comfort suspension, which, you know, you'll probably hate me for, but 37 miles per gallon. What? This engine isn't even tuned yet. How light is it? Oh, that's right, 763 kilograms. Yeah, this is going to be a monster. Tyres have blown due to being overloaded. You've not got that much power. Is it just a weight balance? 63.7, no, that's not too abnormal, actually. So, all I can think to say now is I've got to finish this engine, and then I will return. Okay, so here we have the vehicle. It's actually finished with a time. It's a 2:27.84. That is actually a very respectable time, as I'll say in a moment. It's come just above, actually. It's the vehicle above the MDF Flywood I had. just before. Not the performance variant though, so I don't think, unless I've listed it wrong. It is a 227.84 time. Again, though, respectable. That is within 2 seconds, yes, but it's about a second and a half quicker, as a vague guess. And it had a fair few changes. As you'll see on the back, yeah, it's immature, but I couldn't help myself. It is Rudolph after all. And how could I forget? I was going to make it brown, wasn't I? The one thing I've forgotten to do is actually paint it the correct colour for the purpose. I think if we... There we go. It's kind of more red. Getting a brown colour should be fairly easy. I think reindeers are brown. Mind forgetting what reindeers are called. I mean, what colour reindeers are. If I kind of flake it maybe a bit more. And then I can have something else to make it browner. Does that make sense? So I really hope it does. There we go. It's kind of a... It's not the brown I was going for originally. And that's definitely more red. No. I've made it a bit too pink now. Come on, where's the brown when you need it? I found orange. Can we lower bits here? There we go. It's kind of pink, but you know, I'm happier with it than I was. Ah, no, right on the end it's brown. And then I can have a bit of flake in there as well, hopefully. I think that's how you do it. But anyway, it's a brown car now. Do the obvious and just name it brown. Brown reindeer. Save. Did I just reset it? I hope not. I might have reset to my save file anyway, so I just got out of that lucky. You'll see in here, there is still a V6 actually. You couldn't see the V6 before, but now you can. And it appears to have a cast iron turbo exhaust on, which is completely wrong because I have changed the engine. It is no longer a turbo, and the car's mustache is getting a bit angry at me, really. So here you'll see, it's actually an overhead valve engine now. It is a pushrod unit. If I go back a few menus, I can really show it. And I've gone back too many menus. It is a 60° V6 as well, but I realised I could unlock about 150 plus cc's by turning it into a pushrod engine, so I did. I know it probably wasn't the smartest decision, because I'm stuck with 2 valve per cylinder here, but compared to overhead cam, direct action overhead cam and dual overhead cam, it does use less space, and that does help it fit in the car. Even if barely, it does fit in the car because of those changes I've made. Huge injection system up here though. That's for sure. It's not a short engine, although it is otherwise dimensionally very, very small. You'll see here, it's giving me a few errors about the car's suspension and the rear brakes. I did try and fix those, but it still gives me problems. The engine itself is fine, though, as you'll see here. Not the best power curve in the world, but then what do you expect? With what I had to work with, I tried. I tried to do the best I could. The VVT kicking in, I think, is around here, and I think that's why it kind of humps up a little along here. I don't know, but that is just the way the engine is. There's not much I can do about it right now. Can I sneak on some power? Ooh. I can. Although it does mess with the engine, which is probably why I didn't do it originally. It just messes with the curve, makes it slightly less smooth. Can I mess with this as well? Yes, but not to such positive effect. Yeah, it just poodles around a bit in the higher RPMs. Leave it at 9400 anyway, it can handle it. It's got the reliability. I have gone +5 quality, I believe, on everything, because as I say, it's not going to be a cheap car, it's going to be a premium special edition thingy. We have a 6-speed manual, sending power to the front wheels, and It weighs just 710 kilograms, which may seem average for a Mini, but when you see what I've done to it, you'll begin to appreciate, I think, the weight. Also, I'll say now, it's fiberglass. I decided it was a good compromise between aluminium and carbon fiber. Carbon fiber was very expensive, so I didn't want to go that far. But moving on, we have an active ring, yes. I have 185 front, 165 rear. Again, I was listening to what that was telling me to do as best as I could, but there's only so much I can do. I did the front brakes to the point it was happy with it, and then the rear brakes it just got upset. Okay, I'm finally on the right menu. It only wants 1 pistons, apparently. It doesn't want anything too crazy, but remember, it is half the weight of a lot of modern vehicles, so that's not too surprising. If you take your average Volkswagen Passat or whatever, it's probably half the weight of that, so, you know, I've not done too bad. Also, I have some logos here. They're kind of deer, I think. But I decided they were festive enough with the car being what it is. And there's one down there. You've probably noticed that by now. It's got 165 brakes rear, solid discs, and 215 front, vented discs. Not too much to say there. I've removed the downforce on the tray since if we go all the way back here, you'll see it's not actually that powerful. 63.3 kilos. This engine is lighter than I remember. But it's not actually that powerful. It's 112 horsepower. It sounds wild, but it's not that powerful. I will go through the sound in a short while. But we'll see all this. It's the same. I've gone with a premium interior as well, trying to keep with a premium theme. Because it's a softly spun car, and that's where it gives me a lot of the errors. The thing is, I used air suspension in this case, but air or hydro pneumatic, which I had before, were both kind of suspension types that sort themselves out, if that makes sense. Like, I think if you have the rear a bit overloaded, you can surely just pump a bit more air in the rear airbags to deal with that. So it's treating it like conventional suspension, even though that isn't the case. And we have all these other various statistics here. We'll do 110 miles per hour. It doesn't sound like a lot, but for an old Mini, it sure is. We have the markets as well. 24,200 is actually a very cheap car, and it's kind of found a market as a track premium car. Why are all my cars coming out as track premium? It's on comfort suspension. Frunia just outright hates it, as does Gazmir. It's not on this update yet, but either way, we kind of have a niche market in Arcania, so yeah, I'll take whoever will buy it, because it's not expected to sell huge numbers. Miles per gallon, it lists as 41.3, however, do not take the word for that, because it jumps all over the place. I just ultimately went with what was best for performance, because I couldn't go elsewhere. It does 6.5 seconds 0 to 60 though, which is good, and where's all my mouse going? The joys of having 2 monitors. And yes, indeed, there's not much more I can say. I've just about gone through everything. We have a handle there, we have our antenna in a very odd location, and it's a strange car, but I love it all the more for that exact reason, as I keep spiraling round it. And can we take the body off? Show the, I would say more primitive version of the engine, but it's actually a lot more advanced when you think about everything. Take the trim off. Yeah, that's a race intake. I hope I've not snuck onto a race intake. Otherwise, I'll have to re-lap it. No, I'm on performance, that's fine. It's just races like race and only race. It's not suitable for a road car, if you ask me. Maybe the homologation specials, but that would be about your limit. Where you have a homologation special and you need to get it through the regulation, so you make like 2 or 3 of them. That's probably the only road going case you would use those parts for. Unless, I don't know, unless you're mad and you have loads and loads of money. I guess a hypercar could use it then, in that particular case. But anyway, hopefully we can put the body panels on. And, yeah, indeed, We have our Christmas tree. I think it's shuffled the Dell Optiplexes around. Yeah, Dell Optiplexes are still there. So, they're very good actually. I'm happy with what I've achieved here. The wheels are also smaller because it was saying they were affecting ride comfort. So yeah, I just went along with that. That's why the wheels you'll see are different. But I think that's it. So, until next time, I'll say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever. And here we have a terrible edit to do what I said I would do earlier. I like to think of it as half of a Ferrari 250 engine. Anyway, that's been the video, so goodbye until another day.